US media coverage. I think this is what we're talking about here. US lies at least.
Yeah, so I just want to start off with this kind of chilling video from John Kirby that's been putting out a series of fairly chilling videos. But let's roll this one.
It is not the Israeli Defense Forces strategy to kill innocent people. It's happening, I admit that. Each one's a tragedy, but it's not like the Israelis are sitting around every morning and saying, hey, how many more civilians can we kill today? Let's go bomb a school or a hospital or a residential building and cause civilian casualties. They're not doing that. They're trying to go after Hamas, and it's a very difficult task. When Hamas, oh, by the way, in addition to deliberately slaughtering people, is deliberately hiding themselves in residential buildings, in hospitals, in tunnels, putting the innocent people of Gaza directly in the crossfire. Now, you tell me, is that right?
Just extraordinary when you consider that until today, in 61 days of aggression on Gaza, Israel has dropped 50,000 tons of explosives on civilians, almost exclusively on civilians. I mean, I'm yet to see any actual photographs of killed Hamas leadership. There are claims of them being killed. And then, of course, we've had this recent report, I think, in the last week from 972 Mag, which is an Israeli media outlet, which was picked up by Jonathan Cook, who lives in the occupied territories in the West Bank, Israel-Palestine war, how Israel has used an AI genocide program to obliterate Gaza. And according to whistleblowers, Israel is using an AI system to generate targets so fast based on inputs so broad that everyone in Gaza is effectively in the crosshairs. And it's far from surgical, as Jonathan Cook explains, or rather the very whistleblowers do explain to 972. The numbers increase from dozens of civilian deaths apparently permitted as collateral damage as part of an attack on a senior Hamas official in previous operations to hundreds of civilian deaths as collateral damage. A former military intelligence official said the policy was designed to make most of Gaza's infrastructure legitimate targets. Hamas is everywhere in Gaza. There's no building that does not have something of Hamas in it. So if you want to find a way to turn a high-rise into a target, you'll be able to do so. And even more chilling, I think, and people can go and read the 972 Mag original article. The goal, he observed, was to address a problem in earlier bombing campaigns against Gaza that the Israeli military quickly ran out of Hamas and Islamic Jihad targets that its human staff could identify. Of course, removing the ability of human staff to actually discern and perhaps discriminate between civilian targets and Hamas targets. A former intelligence officer told 972 that the Targets Administrative Division that runs gospel, again, we have these religious terms being brought in, as Netanyahu brought in the term Amalek, which entitles the Israelites to exterminate the Palestinians, had been turned into a mass assassination factory. Tens of thousands of people had been listed as junior Hamas operatives and were therefore treated as targets. I assume that means children. The officer added that the emphasis is on quantity and not on quality. The source who worked in the division added that most of Gospel's recommendations were being nodded through without meaningful scrutiny. We work quickly, and there is no time to delve deep into the target. The view is that we are judged according to how many targets we manage to generate. I mean, this is completely horrifying. And then, of course, on top of that, we have US approval for the IDF chief flooding Gaza tunnels with seawater is a good idea. Khan Yunis in the south, which was supposed to be a safe area when people were being driven out of the north, is now heavily under bombardment, and there are massacres ongoing. And of course, flooding the tunnels with seawater, it puts their own hostages at risk. Various meetings within the Senate in Israel have complained about this and saying that their own hostages will be put at risk. But of course, it will destroy the aquifers and the water processing systems in Gaza itself and increase the humanitarian crisis. And then, of course, we have the ongoing violence in West Bank, not only against Palestinians, but also against Palestinian Jews, Orthodox Jews, that here were celebrating the release of their members from IOF conscription, and were then beaten up by IOF and security members. This was in occupied Jerusalem.
Okay, thank you.